Hi, folks. It is Wednesday, January 29th, 2020, and I'm having trouble with my phone to try and get the volume off. So if you see me looking down trying to fiddle with it, that's why. Update on Larry. He is the fighter, ever the fighter that we know him to be. And he is still fighting and in ways that we can't know. And I don't have any more of an update than that, other than to let you know that he is still very much fighting. And please be in prayer for him that he will be able to be back with us very soon. So he's, the only thing I heard today is he's not allowed any visitors today. So some of his friends had planned to go and see him, and we're told they can't. I know he's had one of his best friends has been there, and Mark, Mark, he's the one that sells the T-shirts, and he and I work on selling the books together, and he's the one that did the CD for Larry that you can buy that is now on sale. So order Larry's CD. It's called In My Life, and I'm pretty sure that underneath in the description box here, there is a link, or at least tells you what it is. There is a YouTube that's on this channel that gives you samples from every song on the CD. It plays the first, several lines of every song. So you can hear it, and it's on sale. It's $7 off, so it's $12.95 instead of $19.95. So Leroy, welcome from Philly, and hi, C. Jacobs. With that, I'm going to just say Larry still needs our support so that he can stay in this fight. We need him, and I'm glad I'm not covered with paint all over my face. I do have it in my hair. But
it just make it look like white streaks.
And I'm glad I don't have drywall dust all over my face. I was sanding a ceiling just a little bit ago, so tried to wash the dust out of my eyes before I came on. Life is fun. If you hear a bunch of noise outside, I've got somebody dragging leaves from up here to down the hill from using my riding mower. So any word from Larry? I have not heard personally from Larry. I was told today that he's not allowed any visitors today. I know he's fighting, and so keep him in prayer as he fights, because he's not a quitter, and he promised us on Friday 10 days ago that he's going to give it everything he's got, and he will fight to the bitter end. And I do not believe he's at the bitter end yet. So we're just gonna pray him back. And don't forget, a year and 11 months ago, he did die. He was pronounced dead, and we prayed, and he came back and has been able to continue in the fight. And if we have to do that again, we will certainly do it again. But I don't have the gut feeling I had 2 years ago. I don't. And I expect him to recover, and I am praying that his recovery will be even better than before. And God has actually told me at the beginning of last weekend, he said, stop praying for his healing and start thanking. God said, start thanking me for what I'm doing. So I've stopped praying for his healing, and I just keep saying, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but thank you for whatever it is. And I'm counting on you to bring about something really, really fabulous. So Elly has been able to watch. I've had too many people in and out today, so I haven't been able to watch anything going on with the impeachment today. But Elly's been watching, and she's been doing some research. And so take it away, Elly, and let us know what you've got. If you have any questions about the impeachment, we'll put our heads together. Elly should be able to answer most of them, and I'll let you know anything that I think Larry has said that you might not have heard. So, which probably isn't much, because mostly whatever I hear, I share. So, if I've heard it, you've probably heard it too, or had the chance to hear it, even if you didn't catch it. So, Thanks everybody for being here. Ellie, we've got 34 people with us right now, so take it away, my dear.
Okay, well, they're basically, if you haven't watched today, they're really pushing Bolton as a witness, and I'm kind of wondering on that because with the classified info, a conversation between the president and one of his higher staff, that's executive privilege.
Wait a second, I'm going to interrupt you. One thing. Larry said, and I don't remember if he said it with us here or if it was a conversation he had with me, but he said Bolton, although he's a war hawk, Larry knows him to be patriotic and to do the right thing. And so they are, apparently his book is not out yet. I understand it's only half written. And so it could be that people saying what the book supposedly says could be all lies. So, he could come in, according to Larry's hope and from what he knows experientially from Bolton in the past, he could come in and totally shock the Democrats by standing with Trump and refusing to answer things because of security clearance. And as far as I know, his security clearance was not taken away. Therefore, he's still under it. So, I mean, he's not going to want to go to jail for spilling the beans on something that he has no business talking about. So, yeah, I know they're still at it right now with questions. So, somebody asked, Tehan asked, will they shut this coup d'etat attempt down by Friday? Not likely. Remember, Larry said they intend to make this go all the way to the election. Because if they call in Biden, Hunter takes the 5th, they have to go to court to force him to talk. And that will drag it into the election. So they got so many games Larry knows they have the ability to play. And I am going to sneeze, folks, because I got drywall dust in my nose. So forgive me if I do that. I will try to muffle it. So go ahead, Ellie.
Anyway, so basically, like she was saying, it might only be a partial transcript or, just papers. And what it kind of reminds me of, and this is my opinion, of Mueller report when they read just the preface to it that said, Trump had done wrong. But in actuality, when you read the whole thing, they didn't find anything. And they so much always pick out that one little line that says he's guilty. And, Barr has come out and said he didn't talk to him. He didn't say those things. Now, I know Kelly came out, but I don't know if Kelly didn't hear no conversation. He just says he trusts Bolton. So, it could be he just don't know. But I mean, I've watched Bolton over the years, and when he was picked, I thought, ooh, he likes war. And there's a lot of things being said about him being, a warmonger, and he wanted World War VI. So what I see is, like she said, if they call Joe Biden for a witness. Now, what was said, let me see. Trump's lawyer said it would be months to call witnesses. Trump has a lot of witnesses to be called. And he said on the last count, there was 12 that Trump wanted, and they're going to add some. So if you're talking just Joe Biden, and it could take almost, 6, 7 months or 8, 20, 30, and how many are they going to want? And then you add that, this could easily push into a year or two. So what gets me is if they push it to a year or two, nobody cares about the impeachment right now. It's not in their favor for the Democrats. And if they push it for another year, Trump's in office. By the time they finish it up, everybody's going to love Trump. You know, I think they need to look at their options at this point before they think of pushing this to Trump being elected and them being left out in the cold and an acquittal.
Well, you know, when you think of the Democratic Party or the Democrat National Party, not wanting Bernie, making sure he doesn't win. He's tied up in the Senate with the trial. Elizabeth Warren's tied up with the trial. That leaves Pete, but whatever. Mayor Pete and Joe Biden and Mayor Bloomberg, or Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, have the ability to continue doing whatever needs to be done on the campaign trail. I mean, this is just a fiasco. And of course, Larry has told us that with the Democrats, it doesn't matter who is chosen, because they know that the Democrat will just be a puppet, and the only votes they're going to get is people who are the votes for people who are Trump haters. It won't be a vote for them. It'll be a vote against Trump.
It was also said, like the subpoenas, they're saying the only reason why they didn't fight the subpoenas, it was going to take months and months and months. And so Trump's attorneys came back with, well, you were in a hurry, so why are you not in a hurry now? And he said, you didn't want to take the time to go into court because, see, they withdrew on quite a few subpoenas that had made it to court already, which means they would have had witnesses, but they withdrew. And so they said, what? And he basically said, so you didn't want to call them. You wanted to be in a hurry. You put it in our laps. Now you expect the Senate to clean up the mess of stuff you didn't want to do. And I mean, it was so good. I don't know if anybody has been watching it this morning, but Trump's lawyers are coming back. And protesters tried to storm the building today, and they're outside protesting, and they were trying to make it sound really, really big. So it was like, ooh, I got to see how many. There's like a handful out there, and there's probably about 3 or 4 officers that are holding them all back, and they don't look like they're very vicious.
What are they protesting?
Anti-Trump.
Well, yeah, we've got an issue here when you think that there were 175,000 requests for tickets for Wildwood, New Jersey's rally. 175,000.
There was more than that showed up.
I'm so glad I got to go. I got to go to one in October 2016 before he was elected. And I got to go to one of the ones on his thank you tour after the inauguration. And boy, that one was cold, man. It was freezing. We stood outside in it was like zero. It was so cold. And fortunately, there were a couple, and we were near the back of the line in the beginning. And fortunately, a couple big guys stood behind us, which helped shield my friend's son, little boy. So, and the guy even offered his really nice gloves to the little boy to wear while we were waiting. But it was, it's amazing what happens in the line while you're waiting to go in, because the people waiting they're just excited. The enthusiasm, waiting to go in, the interaction between people, yes, people want to be near the front of the line to get the best seats and so on. So there is a little bit of that, but there's camaraderie, and the electricity inside the stadium. When you get inside, the enthusiasm and excitement, it is an experience. I highly recommend, if you are close enough and can try to get tickets and go, it is an incredible experience to go to one of those rallies. Yeah, this whole issue, Aileen, you're right. The whole issue of what's going on, it's part of the coup, and it is to make sure he doesn't win in 2020. They have done everything they can to block him for the last 3 years and to continue to do that. Um, Edward says, Ellie, I don't know if you can see. Can you see the chat?
Yes.
Edward says the White House sent a letter saying the book could not be published until the secret national security material is removed, which is legitimate.
Yes.
Democrats are immediately saying this supports the need to call Bolton. Oh my goodness. It just, the game playing is, and the fact that the Democrats are rehashing everything after they said the same thing over and over and over for 24 hours. I appreciate that the Trump's team said, look, you've sat here listening to rehash and rehash. We're not going to do that to you. And, it did get a little old for some of what I watched. I watched it after the fact because I had, I've been busy and couldn't watch everything live. But it was, to me, a lot of what they were saying was interesting and not very repetitive. There was a little bit of repetition, but not a lot. Pam Bondi's speech was incredible. I can't remember the guy who spoke after her. Some of the things he said was a bit repetitive. Maybe they hadn't coordinated their speeches, but so that's interesting that the Vindman's twin is the leaker to the New York Times about Bolton's book. Good grief. So that sounds real legitimate, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to the whistleblower to start off with. Schiff hired two from the NSC to come to work for him, and immediately wanted these two to investigate Trump and his administration. So this wasn't, I don't understand that one. So they were starting another investigation, and this was, I want to say February when they did this, and then come to find out the whistleblower is friends with one of those two. And all of a sudden he comes forward in August. And then a week after that is when the House passed that hearsay would be allowed from a whistleblower. A week after that, this whistleblower turned his, had called it whistleblowed with hearsay. And then not even a few weeks later, they were doing interviews with him, and they say there's rumors that they prepped him. And, and even the stuff coming out of Ukraine with the connections to the DNC and Yovanovitch, the one lady, I mean, she is tied up from 2000, I'm going to say 14, well, not maybe even that, I think 2016 or so, when the United States moved in an anti-corruption office, but they had the same people that were corrupt. And so she was a part of that. And so by the time Trump got in office and all that corruption was going on, of course, he fired her. So
don't forget how many people are on staff at the White House that are their White House staff that goes from president to president to president. And these Democrats that were pro-Obama and loved Obama are going to be anti-Trumpers. Look at Eric Shiramilla, however you pronounce his last name. There's been questions about whether he was a whistleblower. But he was a staunch anti-Trumper working there at the White House.
Yeah.
And he is, I think, he's related to, isn't he related to Adam Schiff?
Who?
Eric Caramella, I forgot.
Caramella. I don't think he's related to him as much as they're friends. Because there was a thing that came out on someone mentioned it's the ICIG, Atkinson is actually part of that whole little circle of those friends. And so when they talked about Atkinson being called as a witness, they got real quiet. So Atkinson we need to call Atkinson in over Carmela turning, or them turning the whistleblowers statement into him. So there's a lot there. It gets so deep. And, even the corruption in Ukraine definitely shows that the Bidens were just corrupt. And it just leads into the president that was in there, and then the really good district attorney that got fired with Biden, and even up to, he even went all the way to even help the new president. And what got me was when Trump fired Yovanovitch, the lady, they fired their Ukrainian ambassador there at the same time at the embassy. So both those people in those power had gotten rid of it. And I recently found a tape of one of the whistleblowers that worked in the office with Chalupa. Now, Chalupa is another one that was working at, I believe, here, our embassy in the States. And she was like telling people she didn't like Trump. And I think he even might have let her go too. But it's just it's so deep. I'm surprised that the Trump's lawyers didn't bring out a little bit more. But I think that if they have to bring the witnesses in, this has all got to be opened up. From the whistleblower that goes all the way to the Ukrainian embassy that was working with the DNC and all of that corruption.
Well, Larry told me, the way these embassies work, and this is something that I really had never known before. Sorry about the phone ringing. Maria, I'm on my YouTube thing. I'll call you as soon as I'm done. Okay, bye. Sorry, real estate agent, so I had to let her know what's going on. Forgive me, folks. The embassy, the way that works, when deals are made, the ambassador is really just a thank you position for donors, for big donors to the party, Larry said. And then the staff who kind of stay at the embassy are the ones who do all the negotiating and the deals. The ambassador himself or herself is there as a figurehead for all the parties and the fundraising and the hobnobbing with the elite in the country that they're at. And some of the jobs are cush jobs because of where they're located, and other jobs, if they're going to a really poor third world country, it's not that great a job. But you've got Vindman and Yovanovitch and everything. They're all very much tied up in all these deals. And so it would stand to reason that they don't want the Bidens investigated, and they want to keep all that covered up because I'm asking a question. I am not making an accusation, but wouldn't it stand to reason that they may benefit from all of this themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they don't want, the investigations going on and are cooperating with that. Oh, that's an interesting comment, Aileen, suggesting that if Obama and Joe Biden are both involved in corruption, that's why he doesn't endorse Joe. He didn't want Joe to run in the very beginning, but maybe he was afraid that this stuff would come out. We're speculating when we start suggesting why somebody did something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Edward, I thought that Sharmila, Eric was dating somebody's daughter. That was connected with Schiff. I thought there was some insider connection there. It's amazing how these people just really run together in packs and families, in corruption, in mob family dealings, and to think that our country is actually run by the mob. I know we had questions about that under Kennedy when things started coming out, and to have so much laid out on how these interconnections work, and it's really mind-boggling.
I wonder if Schiff's daughter has eyes like him. I got her, folks. I got her.
Oh, stop it, or I'm gonna have to go off screen. That's funny.
I just thought about that though, because when someone says Schiff, I see his face, and it's just scary. And then to think of his daughter, because you look like your folks, and it's the first thing I thought of. Boy, I want to see a picture of her.
She's a pretty girl. I will say that she's a very pretty girl. So her looks must come from
her mother, not Schiff's.
I wasn't gonna say the word.
So, but Danny Williams here. I mean, this is off.
All right, I'm sorry, folks. The comments in the chat have me a little ready to roll off the floor today.
Danny Williams here, that was Bill Clinton's son. Oh my gosh, he looks just like him. It is like
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And Larry says there's no way because Bill shoots bullets blanks and can't impregnate anybody. But
I've seen him in person, and I was blown away. I was really blown away. So
who
knows?
Who knows? Bill Bill refuses a paternity test, and yet the rumor is that Bill Clinton was giving gifts for many years until Hillary found out and put the end to that.
Yeah, see, that's what got me. Was I thought the same thing, and it was like, why would he give all those gifts and then not? He could have just walked away from her, because she wasn't she was a prostitute, and I believe she was caught up in some drugs. And so it wouldn't have been nothing for him to just walk away. But he did it for years. He gave them money and gifts at Christmas for years. So, but no, he does have a real strong resemblance. And I kind of wondered watching the documentary on him, but when I seen him in person, it was like, wow. So who knows? He might not have been shooting blanks, and there might be other little Bill Clintons running around out there we don't know about. They'd be just too scared. They, kill them.
Folks, I'm not the one saying these things. Just remember, I'm not the one saying these things. I'm about the comments and the
moon eyes.
Leroy, you are really cracking me up, and I got to try and get a little more self-control here.
Moony, I like that one.
Oh dear. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday, but there was somebody in the last couple of days that was looking at Schiff's picture and wondering about shifting. So anyhow, we won't go there any further.
Yeah, Edward's got one about the meeting in the White House.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures of that where the corrupt Ukrainians that were there at the White House.
See, he did that with the Iranians too. And I don't know why they take pictures when it's so provable. And people can find out that stuff, because they even had the Iranians that weren't, they were basically terrorists.
Arrogance. It's arrogance, Elly. She was not supposed to lose. It was all going to be covered up and brushed under the rug. Nobody was going to know about all this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we found out, what were we going to do about it? Nothing. We
couldn't have done nothing.
Nothing we could do.
No.
And so, no wonder they hit. This is why Larry said before Trump was even got the nomination to be the candidate, he said they will have to impeach him or worse, because he's not one of them. He's talking about draining the swamp. He's not willing to just do cover up and let same old continue.
Not to be funny again, I wonder if Schiff, I know you're gonna fall apart. I wonder if he's related to Marty Feldman.
Folks, we're losing it today. I'm sorry.
I was just thinking, who has eyes like that? And it was like, I started remembering Young Frankenstein. Abby Normal. Did he name his daughter Abby by chance?
I don't know.
Well, I'm getting to her today. I do this to my brother on his shows too. My brother, he'll be real serious, and then I'll type something in that will get to him, and you can see him reading through comments, and then you see him get real tight-lipped, and then he just laughs. So
well, between you and Leroy here in the chat, we've got quite a team. Aileen is laughing so hard too. Oh my goodness! You know what, folks? Forgive me for just being so unprofessional, losing it today. But
laughter's the best medicine.
Hey, this is the level of stress relief that I needed with my own personal life and what I'm going through here, and then with the concern about Larry and what he's doing. Oh my goodness, it just. I'm sorry, folks, you have to watch somebody just totally lose it like this, but thank you for.
Laughter is the best medicine, hon. Really. Sometimes.
I needed a big dose.
Sometimes you need, spiritual comfort, and sometimes you just need to just say, you know what, I just need a good laugh. And, we love Larry, and, sometimes I think, he's made me laugh on the phone. I made him laugh. I think it was the right timing, especially with Schiff. He deserves it.
Well, I will say Larry and I are two very, very serious people, very dedicated to the mission that Larry is on. And, he's out front leading the charge, and I'm there going, go for it. I'm with you. I'll stay behind. I'll walk in your footsteps. But, we're just two very, very serious people, head down, paying attention, marching forward, and I think Larry uses that. I was always told, keep your head up. And Larry said, keep your head down. So I think he's using a football analogy, because head down and go forward is how you protect your body and protect the ball. But, and of course, I don't know if you guys know this or not. He doesn't like to admit his accomplishments, but he was the star football player in high school, big time.
Mm-hmm. He's a good sized guy. And then I said, is he taller than me? And you said, no. And then I measured myself up to my grandson, and I'm like, oh, I'm really short. If he's short, we could just.
My YouTube just came on after, and now it won't let me take the volume off. Mm-hmm. Since the show started, I've been trying to get YouTube to come up on my phone. That's spam. Sorry about that. Well, I'm sure PG that is what he's doing, is lots of keeping him clean, keeping him sterile and all that, getting lots of liquids. I was going to say something. I was going to check something on my phone, and I have no idea what it was.
Even with that new coronavirus, I mean, it's scary. Everybody needs to really start getting into, washing your hands and You know, a sneeze and a cough will travel 10 feet. And, you know, I tell my viewers, that's why, you know, I wipe the handle down, but then I thought, you know, people walk along pulling their baskets. And if someone coughs from the handle to the end of the basket, that's contaminated as well. And, you know, this is scary. I think they said 100 and close to 140 are dead, and over 5,000 that are sick now. And they're putting quarantine stations all over the United States at the airports and some at the borders. So, you know, I hope we can contain this.
Well, it's a little scary to think of, you know, the evacuations of our people from China to bring them home, and wonder how many of them are going to be quarantined. Oh, help, Leroy. We need to get him on the phone with us.
Leroy, let's get her something that has googly eyes and send it to her to put in front of her when she's doing the show.
Oh, help. Pink Floyd had a song named Moody. I don't even know who Pink Floyd is. Sorry, folks. I was not that kind of, you know, paint fumes. Believe me,
Yeah.
between new carpet, new padding, the formaldehyde, the glue, the paint, the primer fumes, it is not low VOC. Oh my goodness, the chemicals in this house right now.
Leroy, she's going to break into a Pink Floyd song or the Grateful Dead. You watch. If she leaves and comes back and tie-dyes, we might have to worry about her.
Oh, right now, all my doors are sealed shut with masking tape because I'm in the process of painting them, and so I can't open anything, even though it's actually a fairly decent day outside. But yeah, it could be the chemicals in my house are doing me in. Okay,
You know the song Moonies?
I don't even know who Pink Floyd is. I know Pink Floyd has to do with the music industry, but that's as much as I know. Oh, Karen says that Ellie's just being herself today. So.
Well, Karen, she watches all my shows, so she knows I do my news, and I always have a little bit of sense of humor or something that'll come to my mind. I'll say it, and you know, we all have a little laugh, but that is totally my personality. When you meet me, I could be so serious, and I'll think of something silly, and I'll throw it in there, and then I go right back to serious again.
All right, I'm going to respond to Sherry's comment because it takes me back to being serious. Sherry says it makes me angry that the Senate is falling right into the hands of the Democrats for witnesses. It's understood that the role of the Senate, it is not in their purview to do that. It said they're paid off to go along. Remember, folks, the Republicans are in this corruption also.
They do have a lot to hide.
They have a lot to hide, and they want Trump out too. There are only a few people in the Senate who are Trump supporters. There's hardly anybody in Congress that's clean. And the few are standing with Trump, and everybody else wants him out so they can continue their corruption. And don't forget, I'm hearing myself talk, Ellie. I'm getting feedback from your computer. It's not my cell phone because my volume's off. They want. Oh, I know. They want the corruption to continue, but they want, when communism comes, the Central Committee will be made up of these elite, and they want to be part of that elite. And so they want it happening now, because if they don't, there's no guarantee with all this nonsense that they come back in 2020. And there's certainly no guarantee that they stay in office in 2022 or 2024.
The thing about it is, you know, even our own governor here, he's the perfect example of a corrupt Republican. And what I think is these Republicans that are the corrupt ones, because I've heard, it was, I'm going to say around 2009 when I found out that there was a half a dozen or more Republicans that were in office in Congress and Senate that were actually Democrats. But it was to stack it for the Democrats to start passing everything they wanted to bring in the new president. And I always thought it was Obama, but the more I look at it, the more I think it was being set up for Hillary, or it was, and we know that now. So,
well, there are young people who are running on the Republican ticket who really are Democrats at heart, and they are trying to stack it.
Yes. And, that's what I think, because our governor gets huge campaign contributions from Hillary. And that's been in the paper quite a few times, that he is taking, campaign contributions from her. So, I mean, and it just makes me so mad because, if he's going to do that, then he's, of course. But then, through Larry letting us know that he was Attorney General during all the corruption of the Clintons. So, we should have known better. We should have known better. But, we voted him in.
Cindy asked, did they drop Rush Limbaugh from the radio in Arkansas? Do you know?
No, he's still here on KARN. And then there's another one he's on that I can't think of the name of it. But KARN is got even Levin and a bunch of others on there. I listened to Doc Washburn, because he knows a lot about the boys. And because I had looked so much into the Kevin Ives and Don Henry that, and that's kind of where I got to know Larry. But Doc Washburn is on KARN, and I believe that's, where all the good ones are. And it's a great station.
Tamara is saying that we're making it sound hopeless. It is. Larry has told us it is not hopeless. Number one, we pray. Number two, we act. And that's why we have you making phone calls. If you live in West Virginia or near West Virginia, it would certainly be a good idea to call Joe Manchin. If you live in Alabama or anywhere down in the South, be calling Doug Jones, because Alabama's a red state and he's a Democrat that got in with a lot of illegal voting, with people coming across from Mississippi to vote. I mean, we saw college kids boasting that they had done that. And so I don't, certainly those are two Democrats that you can call and say, hey, do the right thing if you expect to stay in office. Susan Collins, we understand, is vacillating. And so it would be good to call her office. Just the script we have right underneath here that we say, keep calling Mitch McConnell's office, and just quote the 3 lines that are right under here. Dismiss this case. Enough already.
This is what I got this morning, was Romney is the only one now that's wanting to have the witness out of him and Collins and the other guy. I told you this on the phone, Mary Ellen. Collins and this other guy is undecided now. They're not necessarily wanting the witnesses as hard. They want to hear what the questions foretell. There is 3 Democrats now that are undecided. So if that's the case, we could be looking at, if Collins and this other guy, that's 5 that's already pushed over to the Republicans. And what the answers I was hearing before we started sounded really, really good, because they're just repeating the first 3 days all over again for their answers. So I think it's doing wonderful myself.
call Mitch McConnell. Keep calling him. Now, the best numbers to get hold of them are the numbers of their local offices in their state. And don't worry about the fact that you're not a constituent, because when they get to Congress, they vote for the laws are going to affect everybody in the Congress, in the country. Tillis just said they want to vote this to be dismissed. Awesome. Well, that's what needs to happen. And that's what we're saying. Vote for dismissal. This should just be over and done. It's enough. And we know they're going to come up. They can have another impeachment hearing in the House. I appreciated what what Trump's team said. Before you do an impeachment hearing, there should be a vote in the House agreeing that they go forward. They didn't do that. Pelosi did, and it should be only in the Judiciary Committee, and Pelosi let Schiff do it.
That's the standards that they're supposed to follow. And then the second part of the standards, Dershowitz explains it so well. And there's standards and policies. And the first part of it's like you said, they were supposed to do it in order. Nancy Pelosi came out and said they were going to do it, which to me, that it already is a violation of the Constitution.
Now she wants to be the queen of the Central Committee.
And when they didn't come up with no high crimes and misdemeanors, and they gave the description of complaints, and that is not part of the definition for it that was used back in when they did this, when they signed this into place. And what they're using, it was a reply to one of the presidents to complain about another president, almost like hearsay of what should happen. And Giuliani explains that too. I don't know if you all have seen Giuliani's, he's doing like a information release, and he's doing podcasts one every week to release all the info he has. So,
yeah, I saw his first one.
And so that explains it. And then you put Dershowitz together, and then you get Mark Levin. Between the three of them, at this point, after what Nancy Pelosi had done, that broke the policies. Then when they had no high crimes and misdemeanors, that broke the standards. And then at that point, this should be dismissed on those grounds. And I believe that's what Trump's lawyer's trying to get across. And, hopefully they can get it on this grounds, because they broke the policy. They didn't follow the standards. It should be, according to our own Constitution, that's null and void,
It should be. It would really be, when Kim Clement says they're going to shout impeach, impeach, but there will be no impeachment. It would, wow, forgive me, folks. I have not seen any Eastern bluebirds around here in decades. And I've got two males fighting over a female right outside my window. This is
does one have googly eyes?
Oh, you didn't do that to me. Oh my word. Folks, as you can see, I'm a highly distractible person. And so when I'm talking and I'm trying to keep track of what's being said in the chat and all this. Okay.
And then Elly pokes her, and she's going to lose it. This is over. She's going to have a good laugh. You're going to laugh till you cry. Yes, that's what the team is saying, Tamara. And I didn't get to see how Dershowitz answered today. I seen him, but I had my muted on it. But I really like to hear what he has to say, because, it is wrong. It should go by the policies and the statutes. It should, because the Democrats are the ones who are screaming fairness. They're the ones that are saying, we have to keep to the Constitution. Well, they're not. It's not fair. And, fairness isn't, in a court of law, fairness really isn't a thing, but policies and standards are. And by law, they must do this. You know,
Well, my question is what Tamara is saying. That's what I was starting to say, but I got so distracted with the male birds chasing each other to get away from the female, and now they're all gone. Tamara is reminding me, Kim Clement said there would be no impeachment, but he has been impeached. Is it possible that they could turn it over and he will not have an impeachment hanging over his head? Is that even legal and possible? I haven't heard anybody talking about that.
The thing about it's, they may want to call this an impeachment, and they think it's going to stick with them for the rest of his life. They're just so warped on this because the way impeachment works from the House to the Senate, and it would be like, let's say there's been a crime that's committed. So the House would be your detectives, right? And they investigate it. They send it to the district attorney, which is your Senate, to be indicted and charged and taken to trial. All they are is little investigators, and they present the case.
I loved what I don't remember who it was. Was it Cipollino? Anyhow, I can't remember if it was Seculo or Cipriano, whatever his name is. They were saying that the House has no constitutional rules governing what they do. The Senate has to do the trial according to legal restrictions from the Constitution. And so because there are no constitutional laws governing what the House can do, they can do whatever they want.
Well, they think that's why when they did write the articles for impeachment and the impeachment laws, they said to prevent something like this from happening. And it's so true. Just us discussing it today with everyone. It really shows you, yes, they were right. This is what they were warning us about, because they didn't even start it legal. They didn't file it legal. They didn't even present the evidence and witnesses or documents as a real case. And yet they're, in their being upset that they don't get this trial. Well, when you don't have no evidence, no documents, and no foundation, even a regular court of law, you have to have foundation to be able to put this to trial. And
I'm going to give you folks the, I just posted in the chat here, 202-224-3121 is the phone number for Congress. And, when we don't have Larry here to give us our marching orders because of what he's doing to fight and on his own, 202-224-3121 is the main line for Congress, and they can send calls to the Senate or the House. And I think at this point, calling Democrats who are sitting on the fence and vacillating, like Jones and Joe Manchin from West Virginia, is worth doing. And we definitely need to keep bombarding Susan Collins, because that's making her, it'll help her flip. When we make calls, and don't just call Congress, because those phone lines, a lot of them are shut down because they're getting calls. So I know you need to go to senate.gov, and you can look up by state alphabetically, or you can look up by name alphabetically. And Susan Collins is from Maine. And if you can get to their direct website, then you can get their local numbers. I know Sharon looked up all the numbers I suggested yesterday, but I don't think she sent them to Barb to put on the website. And that's, it gets to be a lot of numbers, folks. Use your computer, learn to do that. Senate.gov, and then look up, folks. We need to be calling Mike Lee, Lamar Alexander. I think Romney's probably a lost cause because he's such a Trump hater, because he's in thick. I mean, his son is also on the board, I think, of Burisma, but at least whether it's Burisma or some other company there, it's some of the similar, it's similar issues. So
Sherry's right.
Sherry, go ahead and read it, Ellie, since yeah. Sherry is saying, while Washington is involved in this process, the president, of course, Joe Biden and Bloomberg and Mayor Pete can also, as well as the president, can continue to campaign, carry on with business as usual. And these senators, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, is Tulsi Gabbard now, she's not a senator. She's in the House, isn't she?
I'm not sure.
Anyhow, or did she drop out already? No, she didn't drop out yet.
I don't think she officially did, but I think they're kind of pushing her that way. And Joe Biden had one of his people at his rallies went up and was questioning him on climate, and he got mad at him and told him, "We'll go vote for somebody else." I guess he could afford to lose votes.
He's a piece of work.
Oh my goodness. That's just, and that's the mentality they all have. I think, to be honest, I think they're too old and they're grumpy old men,
Well, that's part of the issue, because we're dealing with career politicians. Congress, our founding fathers never, ever intended us to have career politicians. They said there were two kinds of people that should never be in Congress: lawyers and witches. And they were supposed to go in for 1, maximum 2 terms and go home. They were never to get any kind of retirement. They were to go home and work for their retirement. They were coming into Congress to serve the community for a very short time and then give somebody else a turn. We have gotten so far away from what our founding fathers, and they foresaw so many issues that they tried to address. Yeah. And the corruption that has happened, it's like Alexander Tytler says, the problem with the democracy, they keep talking about democracy. No, we're not a democracy. We are a republic, which is why our government system worked for so long. We are not a democracy. A democracy turns always into a dictatorship, because Tytler said as soon as a simple majority, 51%, realizes they can vote to themselves largesse, then they will just at that point become totally selfish and self-centered, until you end up with such corruption that you have no choice but to bring in a dictator to take control of things. And that is where we are right now. And we are so close. Remember, Larry says, rub your thumb and forefinger together and then pay attention to this space while you're rubbing. That's how close we are to this country being over. That's how close we are to socialism and communism. Use that analogy, folks. This rub your finger and thumb together. This is how close we are to losing our country. That space as and push them together hard. And if anybody still has the chance to run in your state, and if you've got the money be a Trump supporter and come in on his shirt tails. You've got to get into the primary. If there's any way that we can get these incumbents out, we need to do that. And then we have all got to find candidates that we will help win. We need to make sure we are working for Trump, and then we need to help newbies, and then don't forget, Larry said it is better to vote for an incumbent Republican this time, and probably this time only. This is the first time he's ever said that. Better to vote for an incumbent Republican. We've got to keep the Republicans in office because of what Trump can do in his second term. So,
yeah. Well, you know that's what I'm looking for in 2024 is I want to be ready to try to get into Congress.
And the girlfriend that I had dinner with the other night, she's in the same boat, and I'd rather support you than run against you. So I'd be happy to support you.
Well, yeah. See, if I don't get in there, I'm going to go lower until I get in. Either, if it's something for city council or something, I have got to get in and start changing some of these laws, whether it's from the city up or working for the state or even maybe by chance getting into Congress in 2024. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So.
Well, we've been an hour, so I'm going to say goodbye, folks. Thank you. Any of you who can do anything for Larry, his
Yes.
PayPal account is right here across the screen. His PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com. Look at the link underneath here that links the YouTube video where it gives samples of Larry's CD. Buy his CD. He loves singing ballads, and he's got Somewhere Over the Rainbow. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. Rainy Night in Georgia. Winnie the Pooh. What are some of the other ones? There's one that I wrote alternate words to, and then I can't perform it because I haven't paid the fee to be able to use it and use the music and change the words. I don't know, the copyright. I haven't paid for the copyright license to be able to do that. So I can't remember. It's a long ballad. Anyhow, his style is ballad. He plays the guitar. He sings. He doesn't read music. He learned these songs by ear. And, he used to play guitar as backup to a lot of famous bands that he used to own the second largest recording studio in Nashville. And so he would play when they were short a guitarist. He'd play backup for a lot of the people that were recorded in his studio. And he was in a band since high school. And Mark was the pianist and the keyboard, the one on the keyboard. And he sent me he said there was a big storm in Arkansas last night, or at least where he was down near Little Rock. And so he sent me this morning a recording he made after the storm. It's pretty eerie, but it was interesting. These guys are pretty brilliant in what they can do. So it's been thanks, Eileen. So it was good to laugh. I definitely feel like I have fumes that have gone to my head. That's for sure. The smells in here are pretty strong. If I didn't have all the doors taped shut, I would. I definitely need to open windows. That's for sure. Maybe I'll have a warm day today and tomorrow and remember. Thanks for being here. NicholsLive.com has the donate page where there's a direct link to Larry's PayPal account. There is his mailing address, 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034. If you want to donate with a check, you have to contact me. The cell phone number is 240-499-6729. Don't just call it, text it, because sometimes the phone doesn't work. Although lately the phone's worked in my house. It didn't ever used to, so I don't know what the change is. We only have one cell tower in quite a distance. So I haven't had good phone coverage in the house for 20 years. And suddenly this year, the last couple of months, it's been working. If you need to use Zelle or have a large donation that you have to get through Western Union, let me know. Let's see what else. The merchandise page. Don't forget, you can get the Never Socialism bumper sticker. 28 Years to Nowhere's on the merchandise page at Nichols Live. That's Larry's autobiography of his fight against the Clintons, how he got involved with them and how he left them. And then don't forget the t-shirt, Never Socialism. And Mark will order it. I don't think he's given us the price yet, but he will order it in a long sleeve It's extra money if you're getting more than a extra large. I don't know if double X is the same price or if that goes up, but the bigger sizes you do have to pay more for, and the long sleeve we will have to pay more for, but he will do that. So thanks for being here, folks, and thanks for suffering through my losing it today. It was fun though. So we'll talk tomorrow. God bless you, and thank Elly for being here. See ya. Take care. God bless. Bye.